Welcome back to Hannity, and we're broadcasting tonight from the Democratic National Convention. I'm loved here in Philly. Earlier, I spoke with 2016 Republican nominee Donald Trump about the DNC email scandal and much more. Take a look. Donald Trump is with us after a very successful week in Cleveland. Mr. Trump, I've got 5 polls here that show you have now taken a pretty significant lead. 3 of them have you up by 4 points. Your reaction?
Well, I'm very happy about it. I think the public is very smart. They know what's going on, and they're tired of Clinton, and they're tired of Obama, and they're tired of bad trade deals and not beating ISIS and all of the problems that we have. They're just tired of it. They don't want another 4 years of Obama, that's for sure. So I'm really happy about that, and I'm honored by it.
You know, by all accounts, I mean, the harshest thing that I heard is that you told the American people the truth, that the economy is bad, that things are really bad in terms of international affairs and ISIS. The world is a very dangerous place. And they said, oh, that's dark. They seem to miss that you were offering solutions. But let me play for you a montage. We've got the opening of the DNC. They were chanting Bernie. We've got Bernie supporters booing when Bernie says we should support Hillary Clinton. We got Debbie Wasserman Schultz being booed. And, you know, it goes on and on from there. Let me play it for you.
Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine. Brothers and sisters,
thank you all so much. First of all, I want to ask everybody to join me in acknowledging that we had a tragic shooting in Fort Myers just yesterday, where there were children who were...
I don't know anything about these emails. I haven't followed it. But I'm very proud of the campaign that I ran. And I'm very proud of the campaign that Senator Sanders ran.
In your view, any effort in the DNC to favor one candidate or another would have been improper?
Again, I don't have any information about this, and so I can't answer specifically.
What is your reaction, Mr. Trump, to all of this chaos, confusion, booing, and, of course, this whole DNC collusion with Hillary?
Well, you know, I just listened to what you had on, and I watched her, listened to her say, gee, I don't really follow the emails, you know, like an innocent lamb, like she doesn't follow the emails. She follows them more closely than you do, Sean. You want to know the truth? She just lies. She lies about everything. Even the way she said that, gee, well, I don't follow the emails. It's so important, and she doesn't follow them. You know, just doesn't happen to be up on the subject. She's just a liar. I mean, she's been a liar from day one for many, many years, and people are just wise to her now, I think. And the problem is that Bernie Sanders has lost his energy. He's lost his drive. I think he's exhausted. You want to know the truth. Then who can blame him? Yeah. But I think he's totally exhausted. But I think his supporters are not exhausted. And his supporters are liking what I'm saying in terms of trade, and we're getting ripped off in trade deals and lots of other things. So I think we're going to get a lot of those supporters to come with us.
Do you think that Debbie Wasserman Schultz is taking the fall for Hillary, and then immediately after this whole scandal breaks, Hillary goes and hires her and says nothing about the collusion? What is your reaction to that?
Well, she was the arm of Hillary. She worked for Hillary, essentially, even though she was, you know, she had that position. And it was a big rig system. I'm the first one to use that term, but it was a rig system. Bernie never had a chance. She was the one that was leading the charge for Hillary. Hillary knew everything that was going on, probably saw most of these emails at some point. And Bernie just, you know, I think he's just tired and exhausted and giving up. I think Bernie's giving up. And, you know, the sad thing is that if he didn't give up, he really would have left a legacy. But now he's leaving a legacy. He did all that work for nothing. They put this Tim Kaine in, And Tim Kaine, I mean, he wants to allow thousands of more refugees to come in from Syria. He's terrible on trade deals. He wants to approve every trade deal you can have, which is horrible for the American worker. I mean, these trade deals are a disaster. He wants to approve them all. It's like the worst person she could have chosen. You know, it shows bad judgment because from her standpoint, he would be the worst because Bernie had all these votes and now they're all going against her. So it just shows you she's just got bad judgment. And then when she said, gee whiz, I just haven't been following the email, every hour of every day she's following those emails.
If you look at these emails with the DNC, and what I would argue is collusion, because you're right, very early on you said that the system was rigged, the system was corrupt, and Bernie Sanders, frankly, was being treated unfairly, and now we know for a fact he was, and he's falling on his sword tonight. But if you look at these emails, there's a racial tinge to it when they make fun of a woman's name who seems to be African-American. Then you've got an anti-Semitic tinge to all of this. Then you've got an anti-gay slur within these statements. Now, these are always the allegations that Democrats seem to make against Republicans. And, by the way, they also attacked women and call women names. So they say the Republicans are this way, but this kind of proves that they are the very thing that they are, quote, critical of Republicans about. Your reaction to that?
Well, let's put it this way, and you understand this maybe better than anybody. If that ever happened to me, if they were ever Trump emails instead of the DNC emails, it would have been front page in every paper in this country and probably beyond, okay? And now they're trying to slough it off, and it's a big story, but it's not a story like it could be. If that would have happened in Cleveland, and it just showed you how well we did at Cleveland. I knew it. We had a great convention. And Cleveland was great. Ohio was great. There was no problem. The police did a fantastic job. The police chief and the Secret Service were incredible up there. But we didn't have really many protests. You know, we really didn't because people like what I'm saying. They are going wild in Philadelphia from what I'm hearing.
Well, especially the Bernie Sanders supporters, and he's fallen on his sword, and there's a lot of his supporters that are angry. I want to go to one specific email I thought was particularly offensive, and this had to do when the primaries were coming up in Kentucky and West Virginia. And you have a DNC official literally go out there saying, well, I don't think the voters there know that he's Jewish, pretty anti-Semitic. So it assumes a lot of things. The Democratic voters in Kentucky and West Virginia are bigots. It assumes that Southern Baptists are bigots. And it assumes that the numbers will go up if they go out and exploit that. And I want to get your reaction to that.
Well, they also said, if you go a little further in that statement, that he was an atheist, and maybe that's no good either. And, you know, a whole thing, it's like a conspiracy against the guy. And I'm not a fan of Bernie, but I will tell you that what they've done to him really was unfair and dirty pool. And I'm so surprised that he's totally fallen in line. And you know what? Very bad for his legacy, because he did a good job until the last few days, and now he's just fallen in line. Honestly, I think he's exhausted. I think he's had it. He wants to go home and go to sleep.
What do you think, too? There was a lot of other revelations here, how reporters would take their marching orders directly from the DNC. You have a Politico reporter that literally would send the copy before he ever sent it to his editor. Certainly the revelations about feeding questions to CNN and NBC News and trying to negotiate more favorable treatment, or even convincing them that they shouldn't say that the system is rigged when it turns out now we know it was rigged.
Well, I'm going through it right now. I have a lot of problems with CNN, and it's very unfair and very one-sided, and I have a lot of difficulty with others. I mean, it's so unfair. Look at 60 Minutes. I did 60 Minutes with Governor Mike Pence last week, and they did it this week, and it was such a difference in terms of the tone of the questions and the difficulty of the question. We did great, but they were nasty questions, whereas with Hillary, it was like, and Tim, it was a joke, the questions. They were so easy. It was such a difference. You compare what we were asked with what they were asked, and it's like, it was so different and very unfair. But a lot of people are commenting on it. It's so unfair.
But, you know, but you've been saying that, too. You've been saying the system is rigged. You've been saying Bernie is pretty much getting screwed, that the system is corrupt, and that they are colluding. That turned out to be true. You've talked a lot about the media being in the tank for Hillary. That's proven in these emails. They actually released false information at you that they were going to give to news organizations like Reuters, sending people as fake protesters to different events that you were at. I mean, this is a high level of deception within our media ranks that I think is fairly unprecedented. And even Susan Sarandon said a lot of this seems to be worse than Watergate.
And maybe she'll vote for me. I'll tell you what, I have seen it because they send false information out about me all the time. We're constantly correcting it. And a lot of times the media doesn't want to have it corrected. But we're constantly being fed out, you know, from wherever it's coming from. I assume it's them, this false information, and they'll call, and we have to go through hell to show that it's not false, you know, that it's just totally false. They're doing it all the time. They're doing it constantly. They're feeding the media false information, and they're doing false ads. The ads are so false. I mean, the ads that they do, it's almost, they're so bad that we don't even sometimes do anything about it. It's so ridiculous. And here's the thing. The voters are smart. They get it. They know it's a lot of nonsense. She's been given $1 billion from Wall Street, and then she said that, you know, they say she has no access to Wall Street. They're putting up her money, largely, and other countries, but they're putting up her money, all of this money, and they're doing false ads. So we fight it, and I guess we're fighting it successfully because we're doing well in the polls, but the ads are false, and the narrative that they put out is so false, Sean. It's so sad.
All right, coming up, a lot more of my interview with Donald Trump. That's coming up later, and we'll also be speaking to his running mate, Indiana Governor Mike Pence, plus tonight.
I'm a Marine veteran. I'm just like everybody else, and we think that this primary has been rigged. It would be different if she had won it fair and square.
Wow, in the wake of the DNC email leak, Bernie Sanders supporters are livid. And by the way, why did Bernie fall on the sword tonight? Geraldo went out on the street and spoke to some of them in a Hannity exclusive. But first, we're going to check in with Monica Crowley, Dinesh D'Souza, and Peter Schweitzer.